Hello and welcome to the third episode of the podcast Books, where I talk about books, sometimes I review them, and always going off on tangents about things, which I think is going to be a theme of this podcast in general because I cannot seem to stop rambling. Today's episode is a review of a book called The Girl Before, written by JP Delaney. The cover says it's a New York Times bestseller, and I can see why. It's a pretty good book. I would categorize it as a psychological thriller. That is kind of the stuff I've been reading a lot lately. So I felt I would enjoy it, and I did enjoy this book. As usual, I will start by giving you the synopsis as it is on Goodreads, and then I am going to talk about the book. So, about the book. This is a synopsis. Everything I say from now on is on Goodreads. The reason I'm saying it is going to probably sound like I'm just saying something, but no, I'm reading it. The synopsis is as follows. Please make a list of every possession you consider essential to your life. The request seems odd, even intrusive, and for the two women who answer, the consequences are devastating. Emma. Reeling from a traumatic break in, Emma wants a new place to live. But none of the apartments she sees are affordable or feel safe. Until one Folgate Street. The house is an architectural masterpiece, a minimalist design of pale stone, plate glass, and soaring ceilings. But there are rules. The enigmatic architect who designed the house retains full control. No books, no throw pillows, no photos or clutter or personal effects of any kind. The space is intended to transform its occupant, and it does. Jane. After a personal tragedy, Jane needs a fresh start. When she finds One Folgate Street, she is instantly drawn to the space and to its aloof but seductive creator. Moving in, Jane soon learns about the untimely death of the home's previous tenant, a woman similar to Jane in age and appearance. As Jane tries to untangle truth from lies, she unwittingly follows the same patterns, makes the same choices, crosses paths with the same people, and experiences the same terror as the girl before. This book is essentially a psychological thriller about what happens when an obsession with minimalism goes too far. It's about a beautiful house, one for to stark minimalism. It's a stunning house with really low rent. What's the catch? You have to be approved by the architect, Edward Monkford. He is the architect and the owner of the house, and he has a huge questionnaire for you to fill out. What I'm trying to say is, it isn't easy to get approved to live in this place. You have a list of around 200 conditions on the contract. There's a questionnaire you have to fill. It's like a personality test of sorts, how you react to certain situations. And what I personally thought was like really invasive questions there, but like that's neither here or there. I mean, if you're applying for something like this, then like I think it depends. How badly do you want low rent, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's not really funny, but like that people do lots of things for things that you might not expect them to go to those lengths for. But I am going off on a tangent, and by now, neither I nor you should be surprised about it. Anyway, getting back to the list of conditions, you also have to send in a bunch of pictures of yourself. And at the end of filling all the questionnaires and contracts and meeting your 200 conditions and the photos, at the end of all of it, you have an in person interview with Edward Monkford, who is the architect and owner of the house. Some of the conditions are actually pretty cool, but some of them were like no books, no pets, no IKEA furniture, no cushions, no pictures, which was simultaneously funny and illuminating and kind of stark in a few ways because I mean, I don't think I could live anywhere where I couldn't have my own books. And I mean, I don't see why IKEA furniture or cushions are a problem. And I don't mean IKEA cushions, I mean any cushions. You're not allowed to have any kinds of cushions in this house, which is something I don't understand because cushions are soft and I like them. Okay, the book. This book is from the point of view of Jane, who lives there now, and Emma, who lived there before, and according to the title, was the girl before. And The thing is, there was another girl who lived at one. She okay. There was another girl before that who was Edward's wife, Elizabeth. She didn't really stay at One Folgate Street though, so maybe technically it's only about Emma in this aspect. But it might get confusing till when you're just starting to be introduced to all the characters. So yeah, there was another girl before Emma too. But anyway, the book is from the point of view of Jane. I enjoyed the book, which revealed bits of both timelines simultaneously, like Jane and Emma, which, if you recall, I previously reviewed Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, and even that had two timelines, one present day, Libby Day's timeline, and the previous one was by her mom and brother. Both bits of the timeline were simultaneously revealed, catching up to the truth of what happened. That is also what happens in this book. I did not realize these similarities till literally this second while I'm recording it. But that's pretty cool that both the books I've reviewed on the podcast, and I've only reviewed two so far, both have a similar narrative style. So that's kind of cool. And also doesn't mean anything, but it's kind of cool. So, anyway, the narrative reveals both bits of the timeline simultaneously and catches up to the truth of what happened to Emma as well as what's going to happen to Jane. Again, I have to say, I will not be giving out any spoilers, so don't worry about it. I will not spoil the book for you. I just want you to be a little interested in the book and maybe want to find out more and, hoping you pick up the book. That's about it. Both of these women are really well fleshed out characters, even though they might not seem that way initially, because Edward Monkford, the architect slash owner of One Folgate Street, is kind of a dominating character. So initially, when you see them and get to know them a little more, you see how dominated they are by Edward, and they may seem like they're helpless damsels in distress. But over the course of the story, they go through a lot of experiences that create dramatically different reactions in both of them and reveal sometimes diametrically opposite personalities as well. It's really interesting because when you think about the fact that there's a questionnaire with so many details, so many questions about personality and the kind of things they're willing to give up to live at that place, you would think that they would be a little similar in nature, just going solely by the invasive and supremely detailed questions they have to answer. But even then, they turn out to have really opposite personalities, which I thought was really interesting because, nobody's really the same. Like, you could be similar to somebody in a lot of aspects, but when it comes down to it, when it comes down to how you would react to a situation where self preservation kicks in, I think a lot of people react differently than they themselves would expect. So it's pretty cool that the author touched on those bits as well. One more thing I would like to touch on is it's left ambiguous, and I think it is intentional on part of the author about whether the stark minimalistic interior of the house puts them more in touch with themselves, or is the house affecting their moods and behaviors to make them act or think differently? Maybe it's a personality change. I don't know. But the thing is, as a reader, you will not be able to figure out whether the interior of the house is making them act differently or if the house is directly affecting them, because the house is actually capable of that. It's in the contract that they have a right to study you for their research about building similar houses, lighting change, lighting density and that, and it's kind of detailed. And the thing is, they can modify how things are happening in the house, like the light, like the water temperature, stuff like that. So yeah, and when you live there, you absolutely give them the right to do it because it's in your contract that they have a right to study you. If something's cheap, you pay for it in other ways. And that is a rabbit hole I do not want to go down because I can keep talking about that. And this is a podcast about books. Anyway, getting to the end of my review, it was overall a really good book. but I didn't find any closure about the story. Um, I don't mean that there were any ignored threads of like dead ends in story or stuff that had any loose ends or anything like that. That was all fine. The story arc was really good, but it wasn't enough somehow. I don't mean that the book should have been longer or more detailed, but like I would have liked a more emphatic end to the story. I appreciate how Jane's story played out. That was the best part of how the ending was written, and I understand that it is based on something that is personally close to the author's heart. So I appreciate that. I don't want to reveal any more, but you will see if you read the book cover to cover. That is a hint that I am giving you. If you read the book cover to cover, you will understand how it is based on something that is close to the author's heart and life. I appreciated it. I really like that part of the book. When I say I wanted a more emphatic end, I cannot really go into details about it because, like I said, I do not wish to reveal any spoilers. I just felt it wasn't enough. I might be being a little picky because I really enjoyed the book and the story arc was really good. You might not feel this way. So, all reviews, not just mine, any review you read, take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, at the end of the day, personal opinions are always going to differ, but this is just what I felt. Apart from that, this is a pretty nice book and it's an interesting take on the current trend with minimalism and the whole sparking joy thing that's happening now. So yeah, just keep your house clean, but like don't be so obsessed about it that you I mean, just read the book. You'll know what I mean. By now, I think just listening to the review, you might have figured out that this whole obsession isn't very nice. And I mean, sure, like you can try to keep your house super clean, but you have to accept we're only human. And if you think you can keep a super neat house at all times, I mean, you're kidding yourself or you have a live in maid, I think. Because it's okay, to have stuff lying around sometimes. It's fine, take a breather, take a break. So what if the cushion is a little lopsided? So what if you forgot to put your pen back in your pen stand? Like I don't know what the extent of your messiness is, but it's okay. One of the characters in the book says you can keep your house as flawless as you want, but what about the mess in your mind? I feel like that should always be infinitely more important. Otherwise, all you're doing is really projecting, and I don't think that's very healthy. And I know I'm rambling right now. My point is, you know, sure, clean your house, but don't do it to try and avoid facing how you're really feeling. Don't try to do it as a means to procrastinate. And this doesn't just apply to cleaning your house, it's just don't do things like that to yourself. I mean, meditate instead, maybe like take some time out to make yourself happy. So, yeah, you can keep your house as flawless as you want, but what about the mess in your mind? That's something I really appreciated because we should try and keep our minds smarter, I guess, and not really smarter. I mean, I would say happier and more fulfilled. Like it's good to want to be smart. It's good to want to keep learning things and like be more intellectually talented. But you know what? I'm gonna stop rambling. This was my very long review for The Girl Before by JP Delaney, and it's become a much longer episode than I expected it to be yet again. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope it adds some value to you making a decision on whether you want to read this book or not. Or if you have read it or you're planning to read it, let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you thought about it. I have finally figured out how to add blog links to the show notes, so I will be adding it there. My book blog link is also there in the About section of the podcast. I'm not sure what channel you're listening to it on, so I'm just gonna tell you it's ohjustbooks.blogspot.com if you're interested in reading things. I'm still not entirely clear on how this functions, but I'm trying and I will take requests from you. I will talk about literally any book you want me to. And of course, this review is also a blog post on my blog. This episode is a little bit longer, as the rest of my episodes are, because I tend to talk about a lot more things than I wrote about on the blog. So it's gonna be there and it's here, and you can go read or you can listen to this whenever you want. So till next time, keep reading as much as you can because books are amazing. Bye.